Hello, hello, and welcome back to Second Lap as I get the graphic up. How you doing, Robbie? How's things going?
Things are fantastic. Thanks for asking. I'm not outside and I'm not walking. I didn't prep you on this. I'm in the middle of the monsoon downpours, lightning, other things. I did a quick walk earlier. It caused my phone to have these errors of don't plug me in because you're going to short your phone out. And so I'm going to walk internal. I'm sitting here to begin with just because I have a couple of things I want to chat from some feedback from some friends and loyal listeners and catch us up. And then we have a guest that we believe is going to show up. And we had so many good things that we talked about that I said, hey, let's just kick this off. And when Pat shows up, we'll bring Pat in and we'll introduce him at that time. I am going to share how Lead with Love works. I'm going to tell you something, I'm going to talk to you about it in a positive way. I have been sharing with Aaron, Ronnie, co-padre, guy on the screen with me, um, weekly, my current steps on the time as we start this to go to make sure that we have the most up-to-date miles. And 12 to 14 days ago, that page with Fitbit went away. And instead of saying we've stopped giving you this go-to easy button that just gives you this answer that you've had for
Mm,
9 years, 9 months, and whatever, they've said the new application, that's not a feature of it. So possibly they'll give it back at some point in the future. I have to go do some Boolean algebra because I have to go figure out the last time that I gave Ronnie the 34.8, whatever number that we have a number, and I can go estimate based on that at some point because it won't even give me the numbers that they say it will. That all being said, at some point I'm going to be able to estimate it back out, and I think we're going to be somewhere just over 35,000. And I say that because we've got 85 more days until Christmas or until the 10-year mark. And at 10 years, I'm going to officially call myself a professional walker. We talk about people that do anything for 10,000 hours, learn a language, juggle balls, drive a drone, all the things that you and I do. Once you get to that 10,000 hour, you're a professional, and I'm going to call myself a professional walker. So the
I was,
critique, yeah, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, I this morning was thinking I was gonna start calling myself a semi-professional photographer because I take pictures of a semi-professional basketball team. So,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and actually,
That's
just
a
when
play
you
on
request,
words. That's bullshit. That's a play on words. That's a play on words.
hey, we'll see. I did put the request in for the WNBA, and they're a professional league. So there you
No,
go.
that would be awesome. I actually have just recently started calling myself a photographer, and I did the same kind of thing. I went back and looked and said, you used to use those cameras that they have the little light, flash bulb on the top that would you have to twist it as
Oh
you were
yeah.
photo through Polaroid, through disc camera, through 35 millimeter to 35 millimeter with an auto, winder so that you didn't have to use your thumb because that was just way too much exercise for a human. I
Hey,
think I'm a Go
I've
ahead.
done as far as being a professional. I have worked in a dark room. In high school, I had a photography class where I had the prints. I was hanging them up, putting them in the solution. So I've done all of that back when it was on film,
Yeah,
pre-digital.
yeah.
So at least I have the knowledge of that, and I'm aware of what I'm doing. It's just I need to get a lot better at it. So
You were an honorary professional photographer. You don't have to be semi-pro. You don't have to make a joke about it. If you've gone all the way back to understanding it, it doesn't mean you're good. Like I'm not going to be,
yeah,
blow smoke up your ass. It doesn't mean you're looking at a picture and you're not taking a picture of an outhouse versus the mountain scene. I mean, there's still the,
it also
artistic side, right?
it also helps like claiming that I have a photography business. So that
Yeah.
also helps as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, yeah. What is it? What does he do in Austin Powers? Like we can do little product placements as we go through. Gale Force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make sure you
Okay.
check it out.
Okay. Yeah. Please do. So in the spirit of taking feedback and learning from it, this may be something that we record and play over or share at whatever time. It's been implied and I've assumed, and we know what assuming does. That's one of those learning, tweak tips. If you assume you're an ass out of you and me or something like that. But my point was going to be, I was asked, hey, I came in, I listened, enjoyed the conversation, enjoyed and saw that you two had a relationship, really didn't understand the purpose of why I was even listening to this. Like, what are you guys even getting together and talking about? So, my name is Robbie, go by Gramps. It's up in the corner. 7 kids in a blended marriage, 10 grandkids. Started walking, started tracking with a Fitbit. Talked about coming up on a 10-year anniversary in 85 days from now. Believe I'm a professional walker. Walked the circumference of the earth 6 years, 7 months, 8 days, which happened to be Pi 3/14/2022. So just gone past 3 years since that happened. And in the 3 years, I've started to try and take some lessons I learned from Dr. Danito, which we did podcast with Tori Hunter. They'll bring it all together. And Danito, I call him Danito. I think even mostly to his face, if not Doc. Um, he made a comment to me where he said, somebody that's now consumed 234 or whatever plus books and tried to see the world horizontally versus verticalized, which they try to force us to do through specialization, is you need to start getting this out. Like you've got all this stuff in your head and you can see how this focus over here connects to this. And most people, as I said, are focused where they can just see the specialized sort of thing. And you need to start talking about it. Like get out there and talk about it. So started looking at lap two, called the second lap. I think we own both and we're going to claim both until somebody gives us a shitload of money. And for the younger generation, that means a lot. At least a 911 or two. And what I'm trying to do, what Ronnie and I are doing together, why Ronnie and I've joined forces is we're trying to really bring to the world that we believe that most people need to learn through lessons. They need to skin their knees. They need to bump into things. They need to get a bruise here and there. We would love for you to remain as maimeless as possible, meaning keep all your digits, keep all your fingers, still be able to, walk, to do things like that, not to learn the hardest lessons. And we're trying to bring that through sort of a format where we talk together. I've done some monologues. We bring on guests. We've heard from relatives, other people I've known for 30 plus years. And, kind of in a lot of cases, what I've attempted through, and never really talked about this together, I've brought them in and is a way to either, if there's ever some time that somebody says, hey, this is the way this guy is, I've got, and I have others that I'll bring on that will talk about and say, hey, you know, in bad words, this guy's a flip flopper. Like he changed his mind on some things, which is taboo. And yet that's what this whole program is about. Lead with love is there's too much fear in the world. And you'll hear us talk about some NFTs from time to time. Emmy's in the background, so we can see that this is actually live. And so tweaks and V friends will come up as well. So I've spit it all out. That's what this program is about.
Yeah.
Anything that you would add?
No, I think that's a great synopsis, kind of. And the reason I wanted to participate in this, obviously, we met at VCon 2 years ago. And so we've been together at two VCons and kind of gotten our vibes. And I think one of the things that I've picked up from you, and it's something that was definitely something that I've had for a long time, is kind of an unsatiable quest for just I want to say knowledge, but that feels too cliche. But just kind
It
of
is too cliche, but it is true.
we want to there's so many the people that you've had on have also made me introspect on different things, which I think is what you said there was looking at the world in a different way, in a different perspective that we might not know. And especially with some of the people that you've had on, whether it's doing extreme things and how you manage to get your mind around it, whether it's you're climbing mountains, you're going in ice plunges, or going on 300-mile treks and stuff. I think there's this idea of I'm curious to know what put them in that position, what makes them motivate to go and do those kind of things. And I think whether I said it before, but I always want to be a sponge. I think there's so much talent and smart people that are out there that whether they just are quiet, reserved individuals. And I think being able to talk about different things. I work with a teen group, and their main motto is tell your story, because there's somebody who's going to relate to some sort of piece of it, whether
Yeah.
it's yes, I went through that hardship as well, or I'm entering that issue that you were talking about, and I like hearing those experiences just so I have a concept in my head to try to create some sort of path out of whatever mess I'm in.
Yeah.
Or if it's something like me where it's like I'm feeling like I'm on that edge of success that could propel me, and it's how do these other people that are doing so well in these different fields, what can I take from each one of them that I can kind of put into my own life and use, that'll hopefully make me more productive, more loving, more social, however that might be. And I think that's kind of the idea of this podcast, is how can we have a conversation, talk about maybe some risque topics, but kind of ask the questions that maybe people are thinking but are too afraid to ask. And I think that's the start of all of this, and then hopefully from there we get more people that can kind of give us their different perspectives on things. And to me, that gets me really excited.
Well said. No, I appreciate that. I think that being able to understand the definition of perspective, being able to understand the definition of nuance, being able to understand that um, words like narcissism or narcissists are sometimes qualities that are they're going to give you the ability to survive. Like they're going to
Yeah.
save your life. And I think that there's just been either through social, they talk about like it's not the politicians who run everything, but there's like this big group or whatever that sort of tries to corral society, through movies or through some sort of manipulation. There's this, you know, judgment that's put into our minds whenever we look at a situation where, hey, social things and norms, of the times, this is what it is. And that's visible through movies where you go back and watch and everybody is smoking a cigarette in every scene of the movie, to that's the romance. Like as they're getting ready to kiss, they're lighting up. I don't know if you've ever kissed anybody that's had a cigarette. Not something that's like Dentine, it's just kind of the opposite side of the spectrum. So what I'm trying to get at is they socially thought that they could get us to do that, and drinking went through that, and then they made alcoholic commercials of illegal, and there's the experiment failed this direction. And so I'm hoping, and my spin on what I heard you say is walk into every conversation curious, walk into every
Yep.
conversation like you don't know everything. Don't go in
Yep.
there like you want to win. Don't go in there like hey, I'm smart as shit, listen to what I know. Go in there and absorb, and in some cases you'll see like something of beauty. Like you'll see something like I didn't even realize that. Like I didn't get it. I know, I now understand. I now appreciate like everything. Like I've learned things from looking at those kind of visuals of my grandparents and my parents, and why did they do this and how did their parents receive them that way. So just everybody's different, and
Yeah.
being able to understand that, the really big lesson there, and I'll shut up because I know you have a lot to add, is instead of thinking, hey, everybody's different, just realize nobody's like you. Like, so if you go in there, you just think, hey, everybody's thinking like me, you're probably wrong. Like, because you're the only one of you. And you should think of like, hey, let's be curious. What do these guys ever see? Is there a mirror on my shirt? What is it that they can tell me to make sure, I've got some introspective, as you've called it, and I'm able to see my own life through a different lens.
Yeah. No, you brought up to me, it's one of those words I've used about myself, whether just the narcissism. And to me, it has such a negative connotation anytime somebody uses it. But it's funny with myself, I've put a positive spin on it. Because as you can see, if you're watching this, I have a birthmark on my forehead. So I've always felt since I was 4 or 5 in a grocery store, people are watching me. And whether it's, like I've said, having confidence in yourself, like I've always known that I'm smart. I'm not the smartest in the room, but I I always try to say I want to know a little bit about everything so I can have a conversation with anybody anywhere and have the confidence to at least have that conversation with somebody and to learn and to be humble, I think is the key to all of that. And knowing I might know everything I know about my life, but that's it. The only thing that you are an expert in is your own life. You're not an expert in your child's life because you're not in their brain. You're not an
Right.
expert in your wife. Yes, you're around them and you kind of know what's going on with them, but you're not an expert. You're just around them the most. And so I think taking that mentality and viewing it as, and again, my own narcissism, when I go anywhere, because I have the confidence of if I'm going to go to a black tie event at some swanky party, I'm going to feel comfortable versus walking around Southside Chicago, like I'm not out of my element. I've always felt comfortable, whether it's because I think I'm the most interesting person in whatever room I walk into, and that's my own narcissism. But knowing I try my best not to project that on anybody else because I want the other people in the room to feel as if they're the most interesting person and ask them
Yep.
questions. And that helped me in the dating life once I realized you just ask girls questions. Like there's five
Right.
questions and you can just sit there and look like a genius. Like, what do your
Yeah.
friends do? Like, what are your parents like? So there's different things where if you can engage in a conversation in wanting to learn versus wanting to tell, I think that's the big thing and the big difference because you're going to engage those people. They're going to want to come back if you're asking questions and wanting to learn about them versus just telling them everything that you've done. And it's knowing to when to shut up and listen and just be like, okay, I'm going to sit back or I'm going to ask this one question and not interrupt them. So
Yep.
there's lots of that stuff that goes on.
And there's a lot of things that are telling and just being quiet and listening. Is somebody full of shit? I'll say it that way. And I mean, are they trying to or going to give you advice on something that could alter, you're at a pivot point in your life and you're going and you're getting some advice from somebody. If your gut's telling you that they're full of shit, you might want to get more opinions. You want to listen to others. So do listen to yourself. But do listen curiously so you can get different perspectives and always validate them. Talk to multiple people. I liked what you said. Go in and just and socialize and walk around the room and get different perspectives. But don't be afraid. Back to the conditioning. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid to change your mind. It's something that I
No,
think,
and that
yeah,
that's I think that's the biggest key, especially what this country right now in the moment that it's in is things are so divisive and yet it's like why don't we have more conversations? We have more alike. Me and you are good friends. We're going to disagree on something. Me and
yep,
my wife, me and my son, like no matter how close you are, you're not going to be completely in agreement on every single topic. And it's that case with everyone. But the thing is we have 85% of what we're trying to do in life is in common. And
yeah,
so if we not I don't want to say ignore that 15%. I think we need to embrace our differences but also accept other people's differences and not sit there and think like, oh, I'm so much on this side, I need to do this. But it's like everybody is going to have some sort of a dilemma or issue or thing that they kind of come across, and they're going to go one of two or three or four different ways, and that's going to upset some people, and it's going to other people are going to cheer them on. And I think it's if we can get away from this like, oh, you're wrong, you have no idea, and we're not just actually, hey, well, what exactly are you doing, instead of just kind of like picket fencing and being like, I'm not talking to you because you've got a blue sweatshirt on and mine's red.
it's the team sports mentality. That's what I think has swayed us into that of, hey, I have to be right and you have to hear me because I'm right. And yeah, I I don't go into any conversation, and Emmy's listening to me. We've talked about this a lot of times. I don't go into any conversation where I want to be right ever. Like I want to understand what's going on. I want to understand where we're going. I want to be heard. I mean, don't get me
Yes.
wrong. I want to be heard. I want you to,
You want to put in your own input.
yeah, I want you, I want you to be able to have empathy and compassion for the fact that I want to share with you my little 30-second MPEG video, trying to sound like a technical guy, versus my Polaroid. Like you have a Polaroid picture of what you think is going on in the world. 10 seconds after that picture, this happened. There was a giant moose that ate the guy's head. Like I want you to see the whole movie. And so I will keep doing mirroring on steroids where I will keep talking just until I hear that you at least got a little bit of what I think I was trying to say. And then I try to back off, but it's still communication, and us as a species are, that's what makes us different than all the other mammals. So anyways,
Yeah. No, I
I
didn't. I
don't
was
know.
going to say, I was going to bring up just because it was something we kind of mentioned, and I think a lot of people might have it, and I don't know where you were going to go. And if you need to shoot it down, please do. Uh,
No.
but it was something that we had talked about, just me right now, of kind of dealing with anxiety, of trying to juggle a bunch of different things. And I think a lot of people uh, go through that on a daily basis. And it's whether it's especially too, if you're locked into this routine. I'm lucky. I can sit here, I can go for a walk if I need to, I can build a website like I did yesterday, do a podcast, fly the drone,
Yep.
where I think so many people are locked into this. All right, I'm up at 6, at work at 7:30, like home by 5, dinner, and their whole day is already planned out, like, and it's nothing that they want to do. And so finding, and I think anxiety grows and grows and grows
Yep.
in that situation. And kind of one of the things that we both mentioned was you kind of, maybe it's not narcissistic, but you have to focus on yourself. If I'm all of a sudden, if I'm like losing it, I'm uh, manic and I'm stressed, and like my family is going to feed off of that. And
Yep.
so to me, in order to be able to make sure that I'm taking care of the people that I need to take care of and stuff, I have to make sure that I'm okay, whether it's selfish in that regard. Maybe it's selfish for an hour, or, but it's like, if you're selfish for 3 or 4 weeks or a couple of years, that might be an issue. But you have to make sure that you're okay to help take care of other people. You mentioned it, it's the oxygen mask kind of thing,
Yep.
where and I think that's so vital that so many people ignore because they want to make sure that they're taking care of everybody else and they ignore themselves. And so I think that's something that at least I wanted to highlight in this is making sure, like you mentioned, that I go out for more walks. I'm making sure I'm eating healthy food and not just like binging on junk food just because I'm lazy and I don't want to cook. And so there's all these little things that you can do, and like I've said before, it's always in pursuit of that perfect day that I know I'm never going to get. And so it's just focus on, I don't want to say focus, but make sure that you're okay with what you're doing on a daily basis so that you can take care of other people's. Otherwise, you're just going to slowly crumble and shrink.
Well, I think that it's back to the word of narcissism, back to why I use the word nuance. I mean, I think if
Mm-hmm.
you say, hey, I need to take care of myself, and what does that mean? And it means I need to go
Yep.
to the golf course once a week and spend 5 hours chasing a little white ball. That makes a lot of sense to me. Hey, I need to have dinner with friends once a month. Hey, that makes sense to me. Hey, I need to go buy a Porsche and then I need to go to France for 2 weeks. Hey, at some point you're tipping this thing into where excess, excess of anything, excess water will kill you. Anything in excess has the potential to tarnish your vision, whatever, put you in a bad place. So I think when I hear, and what I would echo with you is, I think that, you've heard these cliches. I can't love you if I can't love myself. I can't take care of you if I'm
Mm-hmm.
dead. Oxygen mask sort of mentality. You do need to have a healthy self. I think you need to um, be conscious. I think you need to be curious. I think you need to always be open to, there's a chance I'm going to die. Like there's some things, and I think that, and I wasn't trying to get too heavy, but I feel like I'm starting to get a little heavy. It's we've been conditioned through this team sports and this mentality that being good to you is you care about yourself more than anybody else. And yet, if we're not our best self, if we're not breathing, the best amount of oxygen, and we're not drinking, back to we were talking earlier about being dehydrated. If we're not hydrated, well, our brain is part of our hydration system, which means that our brain isn't working as optimal, which means you could be behaving like you're a drunk driver. You don't sleep, the same kind of things. These things where if you don't take care of yourself, ultimately somebody could die. Like, if it's, as much as I'm not trying to smile as I say that out loud, it's the difference between life and death. So you take care of yourself, at least to a point where you're the best self you can be in the situation that you're in for the people around you, and just not to be a
At,
danger to society.
no, I agree. And I think, at least for me, I use this podcast as, you want to call it not therapy, but it's a way for me to be vulnerable, because I think there's so many people that, and I know if they're my friends, they know that I'm not like, oh, he's got it all together. But I think that's kind of, if you all of a sudden
Right.
came on and you realize like, oh, he's running multiple businesses, got a family and house and all that stuff, it's like, oh, he's got it together. And so I think not proving, but like making sure people know, like, hey, I'm going to tell my story. Like, we're all dealing with this. It's like, whether we hear Gary Vee or whoever might be out there, it's like, we deal with mental health issues. Everybody's dealing with, whether it's stress about money, stress about family, stress about health, and all of those things kind of go together. But it's like, I need to make sure that I'm gonna be okay, and that's
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to do.
What kicked this off, as I said, that was going to be one of my lines of topic with him, was being able to take care of yourself. And one of those pieces was going to be, and I just
As
posted
he's
about it.
calling me now.
Oh, is he calling you? Hey, we're live. Tell him, say, hey, we're on.
Hello? Yeah, that's what we thought. No, we're on live right now. So you're on the podcast as we speak. So,
Yeah, join.
but no, if you no, I'm saying I'm on the phone and I'm talking to Rob right now. Yes, that's fine. It's all right. No, it's okay. Take care. Yeah, he thought it was two. So obviously, you
He
reread
does
your
it.
text, and it said specifically the time in his time zone. So
Yeah, I know. I do that. I've been in sales for a long time, and I cross borders and all sorts of things. So yeah, you got to be very, very
you
specific.
get Pat next time.
Yeah. Um, I would say where to kind of finish that out, what started this all is in preparation for doing a little bit of a delayed start for accommodation of Pat. I made a bologna, egg, and cheese fried sandwich. I don't know if you've ever had anything like this, and I don't know if sometimes people aren't egg people, but I posted
I'm not a
about it.
bologna person.
You know,
I eat two eggs every day, so to me, I
I
love
yeah.
eggs.
Yeah,
And
and I am turning you off. Think of a different sliced meat. So I've done this with turkey or ham or any one of those. You can do it all the same. I did it with bologna because my wife and I both like bologna. Uh, Fried two eggs over medium, heated the meat, put those to the side, toasted the bread, pulled the bread out, put it in the same pan with a little bit of butter, egg, meat, shredded cheese, meat, egg, another piece of meat, do both sides, throw on the plate, cut it into quarters so it's like a pizza. And then the egg yolk, because it's over medium, is running all out there, and you're like dipping it in. And it was, oh my God. I'm like salivating again. And I just got done eating it before we started the podcast. Um, be able to take care of yourself, be able to cook food, be able to be creative in how you mix the
absolutely,
ramen noodles with other things, and things of that nature. That was going to be sort of my final of taking care of yourself in the, don't have to go buy processed food, and we all do it, and we talked about it, and it's easy to do. Be able to create something in a pan.
Oh, I shout out Jody West. My mom, I grew up in the kitchen with her, and it was always one of those things. It's like, let's open up the fridge, and we never. I'd say a recipe came into play maybe 10% of the time. It was always
Okay.
dashes and this and that. Let's mix them,
Yep.
and it's one of those. I'm so thankful because when I was 20, like on my own and able to cook and save money versus going out, and yeah, every morning I make 2 eggs, grapefruit, kiwi, and I start marinating steaks for like 2 days and then grill those and then slice those up,
Okay.
put them in the fridge. And to me, I'm trying to do anything I can so I'm not eating my son's fruit snacks. And for me, it's going in and grabbing a little piece of steak. And so that
Yep.
it's whether it's my man, like, okay, I can eat, let me eat steak. And then I'm not like going for something sweet because it's savory.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, I absolutely, if you don't know how to cook, obviously TikTok, Instagram, there's plenty of places. It's one of those things I wish I could have had this access to so many different food ideas when I was younger, just because you now have the world teaching you how to cook. And so,
Yep.
and it's all those little things. And obviously it's not just food, it's how can you find little skills around that are going to help you get better each day.
Yep. No, I agree. And I think we ought to do some of these quick tip meals over time where we can show people how to do it. Like, hey, we're going to do a 20-minute video and, you know, go back like the old cooking shows where I'll pull the baked potato out. Hey, it was in there for an hour and 20 minutes. You have to take my word for it. Here's the rest of the way I pull it together. And yeah, we'll do some of that stuff and just kind of show that. And I would call what I heard you say, and it's what I think my wife would say is what I'm known for, goulash. Making goulash out of all the leftovers in the fridge. As long as you have a good sweet onion to start with, you can probably put almost anything in there and make it good.
Yeah, it's just being creative with whatever you have available, whether it's
Yep.
a new kind of chicken parm that with, like you said, if you're going to use bologna or whatever else that you can kind of
Yeah.
mix things up, as long as it fits your flavor. And that's the thing. It's like I, I do lots of weird. I think I've done like lemon and hamburger and different. Like, let me see how this tastes. Like if I'm
Yeah.
doing kind of like a mixer, a taco. Like I put lime juice in my hamburger meat yesterday for tacos and stuff. So
Nice.
there's lots of different tweaks, and then it's no different than the perfect day. Every time that you try to cook, it's you can change it, alter it, kind of do different things to try to make it better. And obviously, hopefully, we have uh, a way to share with different people, whether it's learning about Celtic salt, cayenne pepper, cane sugar versus granulated sugar. And there's lots of these little things that I think are going to be
Yep.
helpful for people that I've started integrating in. Like cayenne pepper is a big one. It's a natural blood thinner. It's going to help kind of clear things out. People talking about olive oil. It's hard for plaque to stick to your arteries if they're full of olive oil and slippery. So I think
Yep.
being able to come on and share different things that hope, and then hopefully getting more feedback from other people about different things that they're trying. And that's the whole point. It's like we want to create a community of, we want to make you healthier. I think here, this is the thing. We want to make you healthier. We want to make you smarter, and we want to make you more social or just getting outside. So I think those pillars that you were trying to mention at the beginning, I think there's 3 or 4 of them that this podcast is trying to get across, and hopefully people can see that we're trying to help you be healthier and just be fitter and be smarter and have a better mental clarity for yourself.
Please share this on all of your socials. Please subscribe. I'm going to start, I think I'm wearing one now. I think I'm going to start trying to figure out how to send out shirts to some of the early subscribers just for, hey, thank you. And maybe they'll go on and go on their social and talk about, go listen to these guys. They're not only cool, but they gave me this free t-shirt.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think any of those, we need some swag, some merch. We'll slowly start figuring that stuff out, and maybe we'll see a website with some different stuff at some point. I know I've got plenty in my head of different things that I want to try, and I know you do too. And we're still kind of brainstorming, and this is still very early on. I think with Ryan's episodes, I think what is this, like around 15 to 20 in that range as far as total episodes that you've done, maybe a little bit more.
I
And
think
I guess
25 is what I was guessing when I was
okay.
talking earlier. We were like at 15 and then you and I've done 10.
Okay. So I think And as I've mentioned with anybody else that I do podcasts with, it's like you're not going to be good until 100. So we're all kind of working through this, and it's no matter
Yep.
what. If it's Gary Vee of consistently posting on social media, the more that you do something, just like you mentioned of expert hours of doing the 10,000 hours, the more that we churn these out, the more that we kind of work through issues and fix mistakes. This is going to get better and better, and hopefully we're bringing more value and bringing more people here and better guests, and not better guests. We've had great guests.
Yeah, we've had great
So
guests. I was
more
gonna
guests,
say, but
more
they're
guests.
going to get better. They're going to
Yeah.
get better over time.
And we'll continue the conversations with the people that we've talked to and kind of check
Yeah.
in and see. And I think that's what we want to share, and hopefully we find the following that's looking for that too. And so, and we know that they're out there because there's plenty of us that we have conversations with, and that
Yep.
whether it's online or in person that we've had, I think it's just something we got to keep going because this is something of value, whether it's for us or for you guys.
I'm going to let you go, and I will look at seeing about getting Pat on at a different time.
Yeah, good luck. That guy's all over the place. It's hard. I work with him, and it's hard to get him on the phone.
Yeah, it's all good. Be safe, man. Appreciate you.
All right, take care.
Yeah.
Till next time.